welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the Spotlight on Yabatech Radio 89.3 FM. Today on the show, we are talking building digital products. What are digital products? What does it take to build one? And helping us with that topic today is someone here in the studio who I'm going to take his profile right now, and then we'll get to it. So my guest is fondly referred to as Coach. He's a widely respected thought leader in technology and entrepreneurship circles, and has nearly 2 decades of experience leading multi-million-dollar product teams to success. As founder of the digital co-creation firm Bullying Labs, he brings to the table a deep understanding of digital product development, spanning both enterprise and startups, and cutting across many verticals: financial services, banking, insurance, fintech, telecommunications, aviation, oil and gas, agriculture, consulting, that's for professional services and education. He's also the African chapter lead of Hyperledger, where he leads the efforts to increase the awareness and adoption of business blockchain on the African continent. He's frequently sought after as a speaker on startup building, product development, and technology. On the show today, I have Idowu Akinde. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Comfort. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm sure you already know my first question. Why did they call you Coach? Why are you called Coach?
Well, I think that started to appear. I saw that became a trend. Even before I started to see myself or label myself, accept that label rather. Then I was still navigating in and out of formal employment. Okay. So it was more of managerial responsibilities, right? I had bosses to report to, but I had people that I managed, served as a bridge between. Yeah. But I guess they just felt they needed a nickname that transcended boss, manager, something friendly. I'm the kind of boss that I think most people would describe as friendly to the point where disrespect is almost close by. However, of course, there are tools to employ to keep people in check. Yeah. But I prefer the risk of being disrespected to the risk of having people whose hearts are not in what they're doing. So that's what has driven me through my managerial days.
Okay, let's talk about your interest in tech. What sparked your interest in tech? Because I see that you have close to 20 years, 2 decades.
Okay, so I think that my interest in tech cannot be removed or divorced from my natural passion for numbers. For whom or for which the greatest credit can go to none other than my late mom. She literally was my drill sergeant in primary school. A lot of people do not know that in primary school, before I would get out of the house, while she was dressing me up and giving me my bread and butter or whatever it was, I would recite I think I mastered 1 to 20 multiplication tables before age 10 or something. Wow. Ridiculous, So I'm the kind of person that when I was growing up, even up to university days, as I'm driving around, minutes after a car has passed, I can remember the plate number of that car.
Wow.
Because I'm a numbers person. So I accidentally, that's the background, right? Shortly after secondary school, my dad was curious, hey, what do you want to do before you go to university? Yeah. And there was this computer college in the neighborhood. It was all the rave. Hey, why not just go there? And so I went for this 6-month program, and I blew myself out of the water. There was programming, there was GW basic, there was T basic, there was Q basic, there was all sorts of, and I saw a whole new world. Of course, mathematics, programming, I guess it was.
I think a lot of us went through that 6 months computer training. Mine was 6 months computer training somewhere. A lot of us, did go through that. Okay, let's talk about your experience in building and managing digital products. How has that been, and how long has that also been?
Okay. All right. So this is my opportunity to brag.
Please brag.
So nowadays, right, when I'm talking to young developers, and I use the word developers in the broad sense, developer is the a development team, a software development team, is the full team, including programmers, testers, quality assurance people, business analysts, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So when I talk to young developers nowadays, and they talk a lot or signal about the clear separation of roles. There's front end, there's back end, there's testing, there's infrastructure, there's server admin. Back in the day when I was learning programming, there was no such thing. Before a client can accept any software from you, you needed to know front end, back end, you needed to know how to configure a server, you needed to know how to install an OS on the server, you needed to know how to help the client troubleshoot and discover that it is your internet or it is your browser. You haven't updated your browser, you haven't updated your OS. So now that's my bragging. But I guess of course it was back in the day, it wasn't as streamlined as it is now. These guys are enjoying they have no idea that they are balling, you know, back in the day. So the advantage of that experience is that people like us in my generation, we build competencies in many parallel lines. So we're like competent in many things, right?
Yeah.
I cannot be scared to install a server or to fire up an Amazon Web Services. Sorry, that's a bit technical.
I know, yes.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you that.
to fire up a cloud computer. I mean, I almost don't need to read the manual, right? You know, so that's the advantage of that background. But that's the background that I come from. The programming languages that we learned, some of them have become what you call dinosaur programming languages. Outdated, you know, Visual Basic, even C#. Yes, C# still has its catchment areas, enterprises mostly. But, you know, with the advent of JavaScript is the most popular language right now. However, these young cats, sometimes when I ask them, do you know vanilla JavaScript? They're like, what's that? But vanilla JavaScript is the plain flavor of JavaScript. So it's like ice cream. There's ice cream that doesn't have any flavor.
You're going into your element. Let me bring you back. Come back.
All right.
Okay, let me take you back to when you started. Like you mentioned, there are a lot of things you had to learn a whole lot. Not now that we have back-end development and all of that. What were some of the roadblocks you had? Bearing in mind that at that time, some people don't even know how to use computer, not to talk of accessing a website or even building a website. So what were some of the challenges you had at the early stage of your career?
Okay, so number one obviously is the lack of Google, the lack of the search engines that have become part of daily life today. Someone that was born 5 years ago literally cannot imagine what life would be without a search engine.
True.
But we grew up in the generation in which the search engine was also growing up. I mean, 1990 was also coming up. So back in the days, we literally had textbooks that we would read. Okay, in the absence of textbooks, because I always tilted towards digital learning formats, there were CDs and or files that were the equivalent of those textbooks.
There was this thing. What was it called? Or is it this black thing? What was it called then?
Diskette, floppy disk.
Exactly.
Floppy disk. 3.5 inch floppy disk. Welcome to the club.
I remember my sister used to carry it about, and I was wondering, what is this? She used to carry it like,
That's
okay.
where we saved our programs. The programs that you sweated, that you spent nights on.
Okay, listeners at home, you can be part of the show if you have questions. We're talking building digital products with Idowu Akinde. So if you have questions, you want to make comments, and you know him, you've worked with him before, feel free to call the phone lines 070-1800-1783, 09131384110, 070-1800-1783, 09131384110. Those are the numbers to call, so feel free to call for your questions or make your comments, and we'll be here to take them. Now let's start with the most basic question. What is a digital product?
Okay. So that perhaps will come from the background of explaining what a product is. Okay? And you can say that a product is something that is designed for people to use in such a way that it is almost intuitive, right, for them to use it. And so mass adoption is guaranteed. Digital products, therefore, refers to that class of products. So this mic, right, is a product. You almost don't need to be trained on how to use a mic. Just lean in and talk. So that's a product. But a digital product will be Facebook Live or some kind of software that you're using to manage this recording, that's a digital product. Again, yes, there will be adoption hurdles to cross, but as much as possible, the people who design digital products want to spend as much time in the design stage thinking about how to infuse elements into that digital product that will make it as easy to use as possible. So that pretty much is like a summary of.
Okay, now you're going to help clarify a couple of things.
Okay.
Let's look at apps, gaming apps, dating apps, financial apps.
Okay.
Let's look at websites.
Okay.
Let's look at landing pages. That's also let's look at all of these things. Would you consider them as digital products, ebooks? Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, coming back to my earlier definition. So, this might take a while to settle in the minds of anybody that has not heard it before.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, the product is not the app, it's not the website, it's not the ebook. The product is the service that you enjoy through those channels. So we call those things you've mentioned delivery channels of a product.
Oh.
So the app is a channel through which a consumer might enjoy a product. If you don't have access to an app, maybe your phone service is down, you can find a website. For instance, if your phone is stolen or missing for a day or something, or it's down or broken or at the repairers, and you don't have access to your Facebook app, you can go to facebook.com on a computer. So but the product is neither the website nor the app. The product is the Facebook experience. So the Facebook engineers are continually thinking and brainstorming about giving you the optimum experience that you can enjoy through the number one, mobile app channel, number two, website channel, number three, phone-in channel, if they decide to integrate that in the future, and so on and so forth. So is that kind of clear?
Yes, it is. So okay, let me try to understand what you said. It is not it's not the app, it's not the website. Digital products are not these things. It's the service I'm able to enjoy.
It's the service you enjoy and experience.
Using these channels.
Using those channels. So those are delivery channels. These are channels through which the service is delivered to you and millions of users, hopefully.
Now differentiate between an app and a website.
Obviously. Okay, so dinosaur.
You've clarified that they are not digital products.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, but there is some distinction. Okay, so dinosaur that I am. Okay, I have seen the word app used in many contexts. Yeah. Back in the day, there was no such thing as app. It was called application. Okay, and so Microsoft Word was an app, or Office, Excel, Word, and so on and so forth, were applications that you installed on your PC. And then when mobile started to come, you had the mobile versions of them that you installed. Yeah. But I guess with the introduction and explosive popularity of app stores like the Apple Store, Google Play Store, the word app then started to take a more defined, streamlined meaning to mean mobile app. So technically speaking, what we call app today should be correctly called mobile app. But hey, it's okay. I mean, it's...
So it means, a couple of the things that we usually use on our systems, on our desktop, they were applications.
Yeah, applications.
So app is now known for, app is now used to describe a mobile application. Interesting.
That's all it is.
Okay. So what does it take to build a digital product? Now that you have explained that it is not the app, it's not the website, it's the service that we enjoy. So we hear the word a lot, building digital product, so what does it take to actually get that done?
Thank you for that question. Thank you so much. Let me break it down.
Okay.
So I consider myself one of the very, very, very lucky few who have enjoyed the best of both worlds. I have been in the developer space. I mean, I used to be that guy that can live on coffee for 3 nights in a row, just not sleep, because I'm trying to crack a programming problem, and I will not give up. I mean, I built search engines back in the days. I built my own custom search engine before Google, right? Back in the day, I've done some stuff. I'm also Parallel to that, I've also had significant experience running my own startups. Okay, so this is my third startup. So I have business experience. And I say that I'm lucky to have enjoyed the best of both worlds because all of that experience is paying me off now. Many people who are non-techies come to me and they express their frustration. Oh my God, this website developer, I'm going to pull out my hair. If I see that guy, I will shoot him to death. That guy does not pick my calls. That guy is absolutely incorrigible. What kind of a human being takes money from you and doesn't communicate and doesn't blah, 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 blah. But because I've been on both sides.
I have one of those issues I'm currently handling right now. Let's continue.
Because I've been on both sides. Case in point. Because I've been on both sides, I understand 100%. I understand the business urgency of having goals, especially when you have customers or shareholders or stakeholders. I also understand the developer mindset, the geek mindset, because I used to be one. I still am one. I can tell you that many times when a developer makes a commitment to you, technically speaking, he's not making a commitment. The developer brain works differently, but many people who are not geeks do not understand. The developer is saying, I will try my best to deliver what you've described on Tuesday morning. But the businessman is hearing, I will deliver by Tuesday morning. It doesn't sound like much difference, but this is the simple cause of this friction. And I continually apologize. I always, the first time, so this person I just described, right? One of many, I always have to say, I'm sorry on behalf of my colleague. But let me explain what's going on. And then they then trust me to help them bridge that gap and resolve the issue. Now, I said this to say, all of these experiences have given me a perspective that I would like to share with the world, okay? The app is never the product. A lot of business people see, for instance, their competitors having launched an app. And they think that the right competitive response is to launch an app. Failure number one.
Wow.
Failure number one. Okay? Many more. And it's going to set you up for more failures in the future. Actually, what you should be thinking about is what is the strategic intent that gave birth to that app? Does that strategic intent apply to your business? That competitor of yours, for instance, if you consider the pyramid market, right? You may be targeting bottom of the pyramid, they may be targeting top of the pyramid. So you may just ignore them and continue doing your thing because the people in your own section of the pyramid may not be interested in mobile apps or that type of mobile app. I don't want to hog the mic too much, but you get the point. The point is, what goes into making digital services? People need to, first of all, dissociate that an app is an automatic ticket to digital savviness, right? Every business does not need an app. Every business needs a digital product, which may or may not be expressed through an app. Of course, apps are ubiquitous. Everybody that has a mobile phone can have an app. So many times, 8 out of 10 times, 7 out of 10 times, an app will almost be one of the things you will eventually choose. But you cannot make that decision from the beginning that you must have an app. The app must justify itself. Okay, so the point is to have a clear business strategy that helps you solve your business problems. If an app helps you solve those business problems, fine. If a dial-in service solves those business, if IVR is integrated voice response. So when you call your customer service in telco and they say press 1 for, that's IVR. Okay, if that is what will solve the problem, then you use that. You don't have to use an app. If a website will solve it, then you use that.
So what determines when a company should actually have a digital product? No, not an app.
Beautiful.
What determines it?
Beautiful. Number one, your target market, right? I am fully aware that I live in a country where many business entities typically just do copy and paste of their competitors, especially our banks, and followed by our telcos. Okay, once one telco company or one bank does something, all the banks are going to copy. So I'm going directly against the grain here, and I'm saying that is not that's not the right way. What determines whether you should have an app or not is an intimate understanding of who your target customer is. Before I came in here today, this is a bit of background. I asked you that who's the target audience, so that I can tailor whatever I'm saying here to the language that people in this bracket can understand. The same way, if there is a bank that is youth focused, but there is another bank that is 70 or retiree focused, they cannot have the same strategy. So if you copy the other bank's strategy, you will discover that retirees are not interested in mobile apps. They're interested in concierge and customer service. So you better, I'm sure you get the point.
I get the point. Let's go for this quick break. Let's pay some bills. When we come back, we're going to look at some other issues. Stick around, I'll be back.
All right. I hope I'm not
Star 966 has
Yeah,
easy
doing well.
banking. You can
Very
open
well.
Zenith
Too hot.
account, purchase
Too hot for
airtime
the-
and
for
data,
the
make
channel.
transfers to any bank in Nigeria, pay bills
Okay, so are you
and
seeing this
make
too?
payments. Create a wallet
You have-
account
you have-
and
you have seen
perform
the same
other
channel.
self-service options
Yes,
like
yes,
PIN and password
I
reset
did it
and
for-
temporary blockage of your
cool.
account.
That's
Star
fine.
966 hash is fast, easy and convenient, and more importantly,
Yeah,
it
that's
can
fine.
be used on any phone type as it requires no data. Dial star 966 hash.
Okay, well done,
Start
well
a
done.
money.
Just
Zenith
wait.
Bank, in your best interest.
This is what happens when you open up a bottle of Fanta.
Yeah, what you're saying.
It's bubbly excitement waiting to break free. It's living in the moment. It's not caring who's watching. It's putting your enjoyment first. It's adding color to the gray and making time to play. It's not taking life too seriously and adding a touch of crazy. Fanta is flavor. Fanta is laughter. Fanta is color. How are you going to color your day? Fanta. Color.
The value of an idea lies in the usage.
Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living."
Tune in to Spotlight on Yabatek Radio, 89.3 FM every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we discuss various businesses that started up as just simple ideas. Spotlight is brought to you by Young and Seven.
Are you ready? Let's go back.
I am.
Yeah, welcome back. This is still Spotlight here on Yabatek Radio 89.3 FM, and we still have our guest in the studio, Idowu, Akinde, and we have been talking building digital products here on the show. And one thing he said before the break is that an app, what that thing he said again? An app, a website, they are not digital products. Digital products are actually services. Am I correct?
That you enjoy through those
That you
channels.
enjoy through those channels. So we're still talking to him on the topic building digital products. If you have questions, I'm going to make comments. Feel free to call 070-1800-1783, or you can call 091-313-84110. Those are the numbers to call to be part of the show, and I'll be here to take your calls and all reactions. Now let's look at some of these digital products. Apps,
Okay.
websites. Let me call them what they are.
Okay.
And usually these things are set up to make life easy for some people, for their customers, their target audience. But the reverse sometimes is the case. You see some apps, they're very, very complex to use. You can't use them. There's always an issue with it. So how do you think companies can avoid this type of issue?
All right, so a bit of a shameless plug here. My company, Bullion Labs, we exist to solve this exact problem. Okay, how do I mean? It's also good that we started this conversation around defining target markets, because I always use this example. I used it yesterday in a coaching session with a startup. If you want to design a digital product for Lagos Danfo drivers, you have two options, okay? And I think that this will answer your question. You have two options. Option one, you can do what consultants do. I mean, I used to be a consultant. We know what consultants, I don't mean to cast any aspersions. We can do what consultants do. You can sit in your office, your fine AC office, pull out the flip chart, pull out the whiteboard, pull out the smart board, go and get some research from World Bank or Nielsen or one of these major research organizations that talks about how there's 70% of downfall drivers are below the poverty line. blah, 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 bottom of pyramid, share of wallet, disposable income. You can read out a lot of statistics, right? You are in your office, you are comfortable in your office, and you are projecting about the lives and therefore desires and aspirations and what they will find good. And you can design a product for them. You can design a digital product for them. Scenario 1, right? Scenario 2, you can pull off your shirt and tie, wear a t-shirt and jeans, and resume with that damn food driver by 5 a.m. Sit in his bus and tell him that you pay, or he should just give you one seat in his bus.
Yeah.
Tell him that you are a fly on the wall, that he should forget that you exist, and just allow you to watch him as he goes on each journey back and forth.
Yeah.
You are with them. As he goes to Iyasikra to buy amala in the afternoon, and he buys 3,000 naira food, and you're like, Jesus, how can one human being eat all this? Because he only eats once a day, right? Yeah. As he goes there, you are watching him. As he goes to the mechanic to fix whatever is wrong with the car, you are watching him. You live his life with him. Then after 4 weeks or 4 weeks, and then you come back with. Now, when you go there, there's a tool that we use in this business. It's called the empathy map. Okay, it's from the design thinking. Yeah. The empathy map contains 4 sections. When you're studying customers in their element, you are recording what are they thinking, what are they seeing, what are they doing, and what are they saying. Okay, think, do, see, and say. Okay, you take these things down, and then you come back to your office with those observations, and then you can slice and dice those observations. Which of the two do you think will design a product that feels like, oh my God, where have you been all my life?
That's me. That's
the simple secret between. I'm on air, so I can't mention certain brands.
True.
I always also use 2 messaging apps as examples. There's one particular messaging app that has greater than 3 billion users. There's another popular messaging app that has just about 500 million to 600 million users globally. Okay, both of them are globally relevant. Technical people will tell you that second one that has less followers or less users is actually technically superior. Technical, pound for pound. But obviously, in terms of the psychology that has gone into designing that first one that has 2-3 billion users, people have made certain decisions in the design of that product that have shown up in the massive adoption. You and I, when we are ironing is such a dangerous activity. When we are ironing, we use our phones. Do you know how your brain works on habit? You can mistakenly lift an iron and put it on your ear. When we are driving, we use our phones. Sure. I shouldn't say this, right? But when we are driving, we use our WhatsApp. You have to just check because it's addictive. It's doing something to your brain, right? Now, that is the difference between sitting in your office. I'm not saying that that's what that second app did, but that's the difference basically between sitting in your office and designing something from a remote distance for a target market and immersing yourself into their life. That immersion process is called design thinking, and I just mentioned one of the tools that we use.
Yes.
Did I answer that question?
Yes, you did.
Perfect.
My second question was supposed to be if the end users, the customers, should be carried along when developing these applications,
100%.
But why is it that the reverse is the case? We don't see sometimes. It just feels like somebody sat down somewhere and developed it based on the people in his office, and everybody in their office tries it and they say it's okay with it and they launch.
Too bad.
So why is that a problem?
Sorry, money misread. I'm sorry. There's no way to be nice about it. That's money misread. It's too bad that they made the wrong decision, but it's the wrong decision. Whoever approved the go live of that software or product or digital product without getting feedback. Now, I know that I've described 2 extremes. Yeah. Extreme 1 is that you are totally immersed in your office. Extreme 1 is that you are totally removed from your office. In some instances, it may not be a downfall driver app. In some instances, you may not be able to completely immerse yourself. So it's like a continuum. Is there some kind of middle ground that is closer to this? You always want to move as close to the customer side as possible. If you can't physically be with them, COVID and other factors, can you do surveys? Can you do remote interviews? Can you do video interviews? Can you capture those things? Can you incentivize people to give you feedback?
Yeah.
Incentivize people. Pay them, give them some kind of incentive.
Airtime or something.
Give them something, because that feedback is far more important in the strategic value of what you could lose. You could spend millions, hundreds of millions of naira or whatever currency it is in the wrong direction? And what is the value of that strategic direction to you? If you're a business person and you can spend X to make sure that you're on the right path, or you can do close my eye and shoot in every direction. I mean, there's no business owner that you know.
Sure. The numbers to call listeners at home, if you want to join the conversation here in the studio, you can call 07018-001-783, 091-3138-4110. Those are the numbers to call, so feel free to call with your questions, or you want to make comments, feel free to do that. We're still talking building digital products with Idowu Akinde, and it's been a very, very insightful conversation here. You may want to join us, call in your questions and comments. Now let's look at some products. No, you've told us that it's not some. See, it's going to take a lot of getting used to stop calling them digital products. Okay, let's take a look at some services that we have to make use of, some channels to get through to them, websites and apps. Some of these platforms require a back-end approval. What I mean is, I log into the website or I log into the app. Somebody needs to approve something somewhere for me to get in. And discover that these things usually they are made to make life easy, make the process easy. But I'm asking this question because I sampled a product 2 months ago, and it took a while for me to get approval for something I needed to do like now. It took like an hour or two to get approval. So for such product, for such services, do you think something is wrong with the product itself?
So I need to be careful to answer that question, because I need to say upfront very quickly that there is no finish line when it comes to developing or building digital products. There's no, the work is done. There's no point you get to where the work is done. You continue to iterate and you continue to improve the current version of your product based on new learnings about your target market. So you discover that the best products are products that the designers already built in feedback mechanisms into those products. For instance, and I'll use an example, even if the users don't know. For instance, when you take a picture on your phone, do you know that every picture we take with our camera phones comes with a high amount of what you call metadata? Metadata is things about what is the type of camera you use, what is the aperture of the camera, all sorts of, it's called extra metadata. Is there? For every time, and some of us have tens of thousands of pictures. Imagine the metadata that has been gathered. We don't know, but these guys are using that data. So they of course they will anonymize it, but the point is they built in feedback mechanisms into the usage of the product. So they don't need to come back and ask you about how you are using it. Because as you are using it, they are collecting data about the usage, right? That data about the usage is the answer to your question, because that is what will inform. In the first version that was released, for instance, let's imagine that the one that was shared with you to sample was the first version. They could not have known that this lag time between request and approval would be a major issue for you, their customer. But they need to have built in a mechanism, either in overt or covert, either obvious or non-obvious. They should have built in some kind of engine or mechanism for you to get back to them and say, this long wait time is a big no-no for me. Then that feedback will go into the next version. And then they will know that whatever the next version is, we must prioritize approval time and make it shorter. Then somebody else will give another feedback. Then they will look at all their feedbacks. Maybe they have 100 feedbacks. They'll say, out of these 100, 60 of them are about feedback time. 20 of them are about login issues, and so on and so forth. Then they'll prioritize it according to that.
So that will form what they would, the updates and the...
That informs the next version. So I started by saying there's never a finish line. You keep learning about your users and you keep iterating, keep improving the product.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the other time that a lot of telcos and some banks, they copy each other. Once this bank does something, another bank picks it up. So at what point do you think that, a company can, build any of these products, can have an app, can have a website? At what point? Does it have to do with the turnover of the company? Does it have to do with the customer base? What determines when you should launch any of this?
Okay, so I guess what determines it really is readiness. Is readiness of the owner of the business, right? So in the startup space, there's what we call stages of a startup, stages in life cycle of a startup. There's what you call pre-seed or early stage, right? There's pre-seed, there's there's idea stage, there's MVP stage, then there's what you might call seed stage. Somewhere in between that you can have angel.
Did you say MVP, most valuable player? What do you mean?
Okay, so yeah. So that's fine. I know. Thanks for that. So MVP on the street is most valuable player, right? Like a Jordan and the likes, right? But MVP in technical startup language lingo is minimum viable products. I can explain what it means later. Okay. But these are stages. So there's idea stage, there's MVP stage, there's seed stage, and then there's growth stage. And growth stage can be broken up into series A, B, C, D. You might have been hearing series A, B, C, D, and Della raised series something, Flutterwave series something. So these are big companies that have gone to that stage. Okay, but typically anybody can start a company or start building digital products at any stage. And I explain these stages to say that there are people who already have customers and revenue, and the next stage for them, the next obvious stage for them is to digitize so that they can even scale, right, infinitely. Serve more customers, break down the barriers of location and geography and so on and so forth. For them, the next obvious thing is to build a digital product, right? And that works for them. There are other people that must be digital from day one. So they even start with zero resources. They're not making money, but it is the projection of how much money they will make or how many users they will generate that inspires the investor community to say, even though you have not made X naira in money, I will value you at $2 million, or I will value you at $10 billion, or X amount of money.
Interesting. Now, when I keep using bank examples because I think it's more relatable. When banks started building their apps, different banks with their apps, they usually have like a desk somewhere in the office where if you want to install the app, if you have questions about the app, if you are finding it difficult to use the app, you can go to that desk, make inquiries, and do all of that. But these days, you see a lot of companies launching their own app, but there's nobody actually teaching people how to go about these things. There's nobody saying, "Oh, this is how you go about it. This is how you." Don't you think there's a gap there?
So, 100% I agree with you. So, again, that can be traced to the absence of that service mindset. If you dissociate the channel from the service is a service regardless of the channel through which the customer experiences that service. If you dissociate them one from another, then it's easy to see that for these people, these entities that you've described that have released apps without thinking about what are the back-end processes to support the people that will use those apps. So it's very, very frustrating. I feel you 100%. It's very frustrating to have an issue with that app and suddenly check an app that you've been enjoying. You suddenly have an issue and you just suddenly check and you see that, oh my God, there's actually no phone number to call. Right? It's horrendous. And sometimes from a business point of view, the people who launch these apps do not know that the cost of acquiring a new customer is always greater than the cost of keeping a current customer. So, they have high acquisition rates. A lot of people download the apps, but a lot of people also fall out.
Okay, hold on, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, you can call us back 070-1800-1783, or you can call 091-3138-4110. Those are the numbers to call. Feel free to call us and okay. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show. What's your name? I can't hear you. Can you speak up, please? Hello. Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Hi, Emmanuel from Yaba. Welcome to the show. Do you have a question for my guest or you want to make a comment? Okay, thank you so much, Emmanuel, for calling. Thank you so much. All right, so Emmanuel says he's enjoying the show, and shout out to everyone in the studio. All right, so you're saying let's continue.
I forgot what I was saying.
You're talking about those at the back end, trying to make sure that they do these things, and it's more user friendly.
Yes.
And you gave an example of using an app, and you discover that there's no phone number to call at the end of the day, and
That is a mortal sin, okay? And that comes from having the mindset that the app is all you need to build. So a lot of people are a lot of tech, and this is really rampant within the geek community. Again, like I said, I've been lucky, very lucky, not to any prowess of mine, very lucky to have enjoyed the best of both worlds. So I understand that. For instance, let me share this. Okay, this is a slight digression. For instance, because I encourage this kind of openness whenever I have teams to manage, I've heard my subordinates, my geeks tell me many times, man, boss, I feel like we the developers, we the geeks are the ones really building the products for this company. But the marketing guys, the business guys are making more than us. Because like I always say, there's something called the maker mindset. There's something called the geek mindset. The maker mindset sees what he's building. Yes, you've built the best product that can save the world from hunger and cancer. Okay, but somebody else, their genius is in marketing. Their genius is in opening doors. Can you open the door of the governor? Can you get us a meeting with the governor? But that guy, your own genius is in building a technical product. That guy's genius is in opening doors. That guy's genius is in making noise on radio.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have people. So many times I respond to this question by telling them that successful teams are a mix of many competencies, a diverse mix of many competencies. And so to answer that question, because it's rampant among geeks, they often feel I'm a genius. I'm a technical genius. I can build an app in the middle of the night.
If you wake me up right now,
wake me up right now, I'll build it for you, and you can go and sell it for X now. But they forget that technical product is not the service that people will enjoy. Human beings are human beings, and how you serve them relates directly to how they will patronize you or stay with your product, regardless of the delivery channel. The app, like I always say, is a delivery channel. The website is a delivery channel. IVR, telephones, any other channel, face-to-face is a delivery channel. So,
interesting. So, how do you identify market opportunities in the tech space?
all right. Again, shameless.
Something they'll tell you, take to the bank. Take this to the bank, and you're good to go.
Okay, shameless plug here. Okay, we have in Boolean Labs. Okay, we help.
I'll actually soon send you my rate card so that you will pay me for this ad you are doing.
You invited me, so it's time for me to slot it in. So, at Boolean Labs, we help product teams. Sometimes those product teams are the kind of startups we've described. They're startups, they're facing the market directly. Sometimes those product teams are embedded in corporates. So for instance, I won't mention the name of the bank. I used to work for a certain bank. What that bank did was that they saw that they were being seen by the public as a slow bank. So they set up a small autonomous entity, put under 30s in that they called it a X-Bank Digital Lab. I won't say the name of the bank, okay? They call it an X-Bank Digital Lab. And then they put 30 and below in that digital lab. And then they invited me to come and coach them, okay? But essentially, where I'm going to is, those guys had a different mindset, right, to product delivery. Now, one of the things that we do while we're coaching product teams like this is something called market fit or market modeling. Okay, so it's one thing to design, for those that can see me, this product, even though you can see the brand, Comfort Shoe.
Water.
Yeah, it's one thing to design a bottle, right? A bottle. Let's say this is a digital product. It's one thing to design this product. It is another thing in your design phase to do the research to validate that there are 1 million people in Ikeja that will buy these products, and for whom The moment you release this product, they'll suddenly feel like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Which is what I spoke about, the downfall example, right? Now, if you have that, now that's market modeling. There are techniques, there are a number of techniques that, that we have. Obviously, I can't go into details. You can reach out to us. But essentially what we do is we help you validate that there is a market for the product you are building. Now, let me give a little bit of pro bono advice here. For all the young cats, because there are a lot of young guys nowadays, many of them developers, many of them programmers, that hope to build an app and sell it, and or raise money. Can I tell you that every digital product has every digital product has 3 pillars: product, tech, and market. Okay, and coincidentally, we're talking about market now. When investors, especially venture capitalists and so on and so forth, are evaluating ideas, guess which pillar they give the most attention? Market. Let me explain it. If the product is excellent, it's a beautiful product, but realistically, they cannot project that this product can sell more than 2,000 units.
True.
Then there is no market. However, if the product is, permit me to use a wrong word, is rubbish, but there's quite a large 10 million units in the first quarter, they'll give that guy attention.
Wow.
So we can continue this at a later date, but let me
But
just
thank you
hang
so
in.
much for coming on the show. I did exhaust all my questions. A lot of things to talk about. It's actually a broad topic, but thank you so much for coming on the show. I had a good time talking to you. To our listeners at home, thank you for tuning in. You have a beautiful rest of the day. I need to leave the studio right now. Bye and have a great day.
Cash Easy Banking,
Thank
you
you
can
so
open a
much.
Zenith Bank
hope I
account,
wasn't
purchase
too hot for
airtime and data,
okay.
make transfers to any bank in Nigeria, pay bills and make POS payments, create a wallet account, and
okay,
perform
let's see what
other
you mean.
self-service options like PIN and password reset and temporary blockage of your account. Star 966 hash is fast, easy, and convenient, and more